Are you ready for an umami bomb? Then roll the intro. Hey guys, welcome back. How have you been coping with the cold weather? So we've been covering a few winter-friendly recipes such as the hot toddy and the super thick hot chocolate, which you guys really seem to enjoy. So we're going to continue with this theme, but today we're going to explore the realm of umami. We're going to learn how to make a hearty mushroom soup that's going to be thick, rich and packed full of flavour, but does not contain any cream, so it's going to be good for your waistline. Now before you run off, don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications and drop a like and comment too. Now let's dive right in. Alright guys, let's start by putting a kettle of water to the boil. And once the water has boiled, remove it from the heat. Next, we will need about 1.5 ounces or 40 grams of dried porcini mushrooms. As you can see, on its own, the dried porcini mushrooms are hard and leathery, so we're going to extract the flavour and aroma from the porcini mushrooms by hydrating it with at least 2 cups or half a litre worth of the hot water we've just prepared. As you can see, the moment we add our hot water, the dried porcini mushrooms releases an intense brown mushroom stock which you can use later on. So for now, we're just going to set it aside and come back to it later. Porcini mushrooms are umami rich with a deep nutty flavour and are an excellent ingredient for adding depth of flavour to a dish. Next, you'll need about 2 pounds or 900 grams worth of mushrooms. Here I have with me some large and juicy portobello mushrooms and an equal mix of brown and white button mushrooms. By mixing up your mushrooms like this, you will be blessing your dish with a wider range of flavours and textures. So let's start processing our mushrooms. For the portobello mushrooms, you'll see that they come with a thick stalk like this, but let's not waste them. So with our fingers, we're going to pinch them and gently pull them off the portobello mushrooms. Slice each stalk in half and give it a good rough chop. As for the portobello mushrooms, we're going to put them face down for stability, slice it in half, and then we're going to slice it thinly. For the button mushrooms, give it a good pinch, cut it in half, and just slice it thinly lengthwise. This technique is the same for both the white and the brown button mushrooms. Once you're done, set all your mushrooms aside. Now we're going to get a medium-sized pot and we're going to heat it up over medium heat. Next, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and all of the sliced mushrooms into the pot. You'll want to hear a nice sizzle when you do, because that's when you know it's hot enough. Next, add a few cracks of freshly ground black pepper and a healthy pinch of salt. Now give the pot a good mix because we're going to allow the mushrooms to cook down. As we cook the mushrooms, you'll realize that the mushrooms will start to shrink in size as they release their moisture. So after a few minutes, your pot should look like this. Take a look at the amount of liquid in the pot right now. All this liquid came from the mushrooms itself, so we're going to slowly cook it away, and this is going to help us intensify the flavours. As an optional step, you can add about half a glass of white wine to deglaze the pot. This is going to add more flavour to the mushrooms as well. So allow your mushrooms to cook off for a few more minutes and allow some of the white wine to cook off. Once the white wine has reduced by about half, take the pot off the heat. Now let's prepare the rest of our ingredients. Cut off the top and the bottom of the garlic, give it a good smash and remove the skin. Finally, give it all a nice rough chop. Next, grab 2 onions. Cut each onion in half, followed by some vertical cuts along the length of the onion and some cuts that are parallel against the board. Now start chopping up your onion like this, and once you reach the end, chop around the core and throw the core away. Next, grab 2 leeks and start by cutting off the core at the bottom of the leek itself. And cut the leek into about 3 to 4 equal-sized segments like this. Cut each segment in half and slice it as thinly as you can. Now grab 3 potatoes, and with a vegetable peeler we're going to remove all the skin. Next, we'll cut our potatoes into little cubes like this. Now heat a large pot over medium heat and add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter. Once all your butter has melted, add the garlic, leeks, onions and potatoes that you've just cut, followed by a few cracks of freshly ground black pepper, a good pinch of salt, and start mixing everything together. Now we're going to allow the vegetables to caramelize in the pot slowly for 10 minutes. Make sure you stir it every once in a while, and this will help us develop a deeper depth of flavour in the soup. With the magic of time and patience, your vegetables will start to develop a nice brown color like this. And this will add more flavor to our soup. So now it's time to add our porcini mushrooms and the mushroom stock that we prepared earlier, followed by about 6 cups or 1.5 liters of chicken stock or vegetable stock. Next, we'll add a few sprigs of thyme. I like to give it a rub like this to help release its oils before I add it to the pot. Last but not least, go ahead and add about half or 3/4 worth of the cooked mushrooms that we prepared earlier. These mushrooms will be blended together with the rest of the ingredients later on. As for the remaining mushrooms, let's put them aside for now and we'll come back to them later. Now we're going to allow the soup to come to a simmer but never to a full boil. Once your soup starts to simmer, use your pot lid to partially cover the pot. Make sure you leave a small gap to allow the steam to escape. Now we're going to let the soup simmer for 30 minutes. After half an hour, go ahead and remove your pot lid. By now, your soup should have developed a really deep and dark brown hue and your kitchen should smell like mushrooms. So let's start by removing the fibrous twigs of thyme that we added earlier on. Now it's time to blend the soup. If you're using a stick blender like me, make sure you submerge the stick blender all the way to the bottom of the pot before you start using it. This prevents the hot soup from splattering out and burning you. If you're using a regular blender, then just blend the soup in batches. Now you start to see that your soup is starting to get really thick and creamy as you blend all the potatoes, the leeks, the mushrooms. So feel free to blend until you reach the consistency that you like. But in general, you should get a nice thick and creamy soup like this. Now remember the mushrooms that we set aside earlier on? Now it's time when we're going to add them to the soup. These additional chunky mushrooms will add another layer of depth, flavor and texture to the soup. So all we have to do now is to give it a good stir and it's time to serve. So go ahead and fill up your bowl with this piping hot, umami-rich mushroom soup. But wait, why stop there? Let's top it off with some Parmesan cheese, some finely chopped parsley, and of course my favorite, truffle oil. You of course can use extra virgin olive oil too. Now when you finally dig into this umami-rich soup, it will be an explosion of flavors. The deep, earthy, nutty notes from the porcini mushrooms really make a difference. And the addition of the chunky mushrooms to the blended soup really adds another layer of complexity and texture. And there you have it, a super healthy and creamy mushroom soup that is made without any cream. So there you have it, an umami-rich, hearty mushroom soup without any cream that's good for your waistline. If you gave this recipe a shot or you have any recipe requests at all, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video or if you learned something, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on your notifications, and don't forget to check out my other recipes here and here. That's all from me today. Don't forget to take care of yourselves. This is Ted Teo, signing off.